find any pattern, what do you do? That one thing can be. But you can't wait, you deal freely. Oh, I see. Oh, my dress. Thank you. Miss Lily wanting anything should be. Anyway, oh, beer. Miss, my beer. That was still time. One from one weekend to time. Hundreds billion time. It was united king. With one union. Oh, did you want to be? The brakes aren't taken away here. Zip press a spear. You need a with me you need. Mitch want my puppy. What you think? Zip made you every time. You want fail to take me. He will keep the reverse. Shooting from here. You and you what one cup to take out the way you deal my power. The weekend you deal wanted ink. My turn. You take any OE? What? She's gonna gain power. Aren't we with Monty? Okay, ready?
Hey!
It's like your friend. Without protection. And prevention. Just before you come in, still. School RPA.